Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Power 5 Sports League Proverbs podcast with Coach Norman and Coach A. We're here to break down the journey from youth sports to the pros. Whether you're a parent, whether you're an athlete, whether you're just a sports fan in general, this is the spot for you. I'm your host, MC Mike, and I'm joined as always by two Permian Basin legends, Coach A, Coach Norman. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing good.
Doing great, man. Blessed.
Right.
How you doing today?
Doing very well. Honored to be here with you guys as always. Today, we're going to be chatting about something really interesting. We're going to be talking about how to build character through sports. We have another phenomenal young athlete to spotlight in our athlete spotlight of the week. But as always, we're going to start off our show with a little prayer and an introduction to today's proverb. So, Coach Norman, would you take us away?
Yes, sir. You don't want to get it this weekend?
And you do such a great job.
Gotcha.
And you are a prayer warrior.
There we go. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you this evening, and we just ask you that you touch our minds, touch our mouths, and just let us speak truth and speak truth to power. We just thank you for all the many blessings you bestowed upon us, and just help us to have a great episode this week. In your name we pray. Amen.
Man.
Amen. All right. Well, Coach A, why don't you lead us off with today's proverb?
As iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another. That is a great warrior proverb. I love that. That also is talking about building relationships. And in good relationships, you're able to talk with a friend, a brother, a colleague, and talking to them in a way that's going to better themselves, because you're looking out for them. And one thing that I don't want anybody to forget, when iron sharpens iron, like there's such a violent act that happens. Don't you agree? That people, you can't overlook. And in order to go through that violent act, there has to be a foundation set that I can come to my brother and let him know, hey, you doing this, and him not take it as I'm trying to harm him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so anytime you see anything, iron sharpens iron, there's going to be some sparks, some friction, starting. Yeah. But that friction is what's going to bond the two. And the more often you do that, the bigger and the sharper that iron will become.
That's a great take on all that, man. Because I was reading this before the show, and I was trying to wrap my head around, okay, well, why this one today? How are we going to expand on this one? But you broke that down, I guess, religiously. That was such a great analysis on such a powerful proverb. Coach Norman, what do you got to add to that, if anything? I mean, that was so well said.
Yeah, it was well said. And I think the only thing that I would add to it is, we talk about the iron and the iron being sharpened. Man, I look back to the beginning of that iron being sharpened. When you're making a sword, you have to be forged in the fire.
Forged. Huh?
You got to be forged in the fire. You got to go through that fire. You got to go through something in order to come out to be something great.
Okay.
And then you have that samurai sword that comes out of that fire, and then you sharpening it.
Yeah.
With your fellow comrades and your teammates or whoever that may be.
Right.
Man, I just put it all together, and saying you forged in that fire, so you coming out real sharp, and then you gonna sharpen some other iron with your comrade. So that's the only thing I have for it. And but that was a great take on that.
It was. Both of them were great. But in my head, after listening to that edition, it sounds like this is practice, right? You go through practice, you go through all them drills, and then at the end you run those sprints. That's you being forged for game day to have your iron shoot super sharp. Yeah. You go through that, sort of rough patch with your teammates, and you come out even shinier and more efficient on the other side. So I love it. I love that. That's a really great one for today. So as we're set to begin the show, we're going to take a moment and we're actually going to thank our sponsor. Who we got going today?
Man, we got Rig ID.
Rig ID?
Yeah, Rig ID, man. Yeah. We want to shout out to Rig ID, where you can go and get all of your apparel needs. They do all kinds of things like the fire resistant clothing and stuff. Yeah, the FR clothing within the oil field. I mean, they do canvases. They do what do you call them? Shoot, I'm forgetting the name of them, but they do the posters. They do posters. They do all of that type of stuff.
Screen print,
screen print. There you go.
Everything,
embroidering and everything. So shout out to Rig ID, man. We appreciate them. They're a local business here in Midland, and let's support locally.
Beautiful. Well said. All right, so we're going to jump into our first segment here, and our first segment is always, sort of a catch-up session. We talk a little bit about what we did for the week, what we did with our families, what we did with our jobs, and we just basically sort of catch up a little bit. So, Coach A, why don't you start? I mean, any family stories here? I mean, I think last time we were talking about Valentine's Day, and I see you're still breathing. So,
well, this is true, man. Just to catch up, one thing that I'm concentrating on more is just spending time with the family, making memories. Tomorrow's not promised, and the memories is going to last forever. Even if we leave, when we do leave, those memories. So that's the things that I'm concentrating more on, especially with my family.
Coach?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, man. So it's been a down week for me this week. My son was sick, so he's been out of school all week. So been nursing and taking care of him and everything. So that's what I got going on this week. But he gonna come out of it. He's getting better and everything, and he'll be at school next week, and we'll we'll get back to it.
Does he know he going to school next week?
He better be in school next week.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you guys. It's a short week. We had a holiday on Monday, honoring President's Day, and then every day sort of felt like the next day. So here we are Friday. It feels like Thursday, but the weekend is once again upon us. Coach A, I kind of sympathize with your week. I too have had an interesting week with the family, and I was on a conference call. I'll share this story. I was on a conference call midweek towards around 6:30 at night, and my son, all he wanted to do was play with me. And he was just like trying to grab my hand and go. And I was sort of like telling him like, hey, give me 5 minutes. Let me just wrap this up and go. And, the guy on the other side of the phone, he told me, he's like, listen, like I would give anything to have that moment back. So, just we'll finish this conversation tomorrow. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's not as important as this moment that you're about to share. Whether you remember it, whether he remembers it, it's not important. Right. It's really just living in the now. So I did. I took him up on that, and we built a castle that he destroyed with a hammer. So It was awesome.
That's good.
It was awesome. So all right. Well, we're gonna move into actually our first sports trivia segment here. So
here we go.
Here we go. All right. So first question is actually going to be sent out to Coach Norman. So you're leading the trivia spotlight today. And the question actually piggybacks off of a recent tournament that was happening in the hockey arena with our neighbors to the north. What are the national sports of Canada?
The national sports of Canada.
Now, I'll give you a hint. I was instructed that I just can't throw questions without hints or multiple choice or anything. So there are two, hence the word sports.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. There's only two.
There's only two.
Okay, shoot. I'm gonna go with hockey as number one, and football, Canadian football.
Canadian football. I wish I had
The only reason I say that to go. Lord,
look, I was going to say good answer. Good answer. Good answer. That sounds good to me.
No,
So
you got
no,
1 out of 2. 1 out of 2.
Are you serious?
Coach A, you wanna take this one? Come on for the steal.
Man. Hockey and figure skating.
That boy said figure skating.
No. Can we phone a friend? I mean,
yeah, man, I need a lifeline.
He laughing at us.
Call me real quick. Here we go. No, you guys are both right on hockey. You're incorrect that that's actually their first. Their second is actually the first one officially is lacrosse. And
that's not
lacrosse
good.
is the national sport of the country. And then hockey is, recently added. They didn't really factor that one in.
Really?
So yeah, they didn't factor that one in up until recently. Lacrosse is older than hockey. It was developed by the natives up in Canada, and it's just been their national sport forever.
Well,
wow,
Mike, I'm glad you're on our team. Taught us something new today.
Hey, you learn something new every day, man.
Well, I'll give you guys both 0.5 points for that one because you both guessed hockey. But Canadian football, man, really?
Hey, man, that's the only thing that I knew. I had a chance to go play with the Calgary Stampede. So, and they only select like 2 American players that can play on each team.
Right.
So I figure, they proud of the Canadian Football
League, right?
They're very protective of it. There's no doubt about that, and they're very protective of their 3-down game too. It is a very different type of football,
no doubt.
I actually had the pleasure of coaching there for 8 years.
Really?
When I was there, I went to school up in Canada, and I coached 16, 17-year-old youth football. It was sort of a combination of both American and Canadian rules, but needless to say, it was an experience. Let's just we'll leave it at that. I'll tell you more stories about that on another segment. But we are going to jump into today's athlete spotlight. So I'm excited for this one because this is always fun. So we're gonna tee this up here. So last week we spoke about a young man who had a lot of character, led his team to a national championship. This week is no different. Another champion in our spotlight. Another great set of answers to our little questionnaire. So we're going to dive into that. Today we're introducing Jody Gonzales, 9-year-old from Monahans, and very excited to discuss him today. He did win the 2024 9U I guess championship for the Power 5 Sports League, led Monahans and the Lobos to that victory. Everything I've seen about this young man has been sort of spot on. I mean, look at that form throwing that football. That looks like it's going to go 30 miles. And a smile from ear to ear holding that championship trophy for sure. So anything you guys got to say about this young man before we jump into some of the questions?
Well, I'll just start. His vision. I love Jody's vision. Again, these kids that are playing quarterback, why would they want to select a position like that? I'm not sure if it's his father or whatnot, but these young Lions are wanting that position that's going to cause for all the responsibility. And there's no reason for him not to play this position. His field vision is crazy. I love to see his cuts in and out as if he's a sewing machine, a typewriter. Speed is good, and just understanding his awareness is what I love about Mr. Gonzales.
Coach Norman?
And I'll follow up with that, man. This kid, man, he's not the biggest. He's not the, and of course, 9U, they're not going to be big at all.
Right.
But he's not the biggest kid out there on the field, man. But his vision and running up and down the field and who he's throwing to, and he's getting good with his technique as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Franco, who's a quarterback coach out here in West Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He works with quarterbacks. He's worked with a lot of these quarterbacks out in Greenwood, and doing different techniques and things of that nature. He's just getting better every week. He keeps going to those camps
Right.
and displaying his skills, and he's still working at it. So, congratulations to him. It'll be 10U next year.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be a little bit different. They've been at 11U division, but he'll still be leading his team up, and hopefully they can continue with the success.
Sounds to me like he's been forging that iron. So we'll see how it ends up.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into our questions for this young man. So question number 1, what is your favorite part about playing in the Power 5 Sports League? And his response, the competition. And I thought this was of all the things that you could say about, winning a championship, my teammates, just being there to improve myself day after day, whatever you could possibly say, he's eager for the competition. He wants to be challenged. He wants the opportunity to improve his skill set. At least that's what I got out of this when I read that response. I mean, Coach A, you're nodding. I mean, what's your take on it?
Again, just by his selection of position that he's playing, they let you know he welcomed every I can't even think of the word, any competition that's coming his way, any adversity, any mistakes, because he's going to turn those mistakes around. And that is, again, a great answer for such a young athlete that's motivated and accepting all challenges.
He's definitely not one to play Madden on rookie mode and win 100 to 0, right? He's playing on all pro. Coach
Right.
Norman, what's your first reaction when you see that from such a young, champion, young promising superstar that's developing quickly in the Power 5 Sports League?
Yeah, I believe that's a testament to his upbringing, by his parents. His dad does coach. He's the AD of the Lobos, and so him going out there and wanting to compete and accepting that competition. I mean, I think that's a great thing for the Power 5 Sports League as well. Showing that we have competitive teams out there that's gonna compete, and you're not gonna be blowing people out 50-0 every time. It's gonna be some competition out there, and so with all of these kids, man, we like I said, we plan to highlight a lot of these kids, and this is just one of them that thrives on that competition, and we're excited about it.
Well, as you move up in the age brackets, everybody else does too, and that competition gets more fierce. So if that's what he's most excited about, he's got a lot to be excited about heading into this season as well. Okay, coming into our next question. If you could play any sport with a professional athlete for a day, and who would it be and why? And everything that Coach A has sort of outlined about this young man's vision comes into play with his answer. Saquon Barkley, because he is very good. I would sort of put a little asterisk and say that he's very great. Right. Super Bowl champion now. As a Giants fan, I have a little bit of a tear. But his vision is one of his, superpowers. He put that on display more times than not this year, almost breaking the rushing record for the season. Insane highlights, jumping backwards, eyes in the back of his head. This is clearly a superstar that you want to mimic, at least from the skill sets such as vision. Coach A, how does this sort of piggyback off of everything that you described about this young man so far?
I don't know if he selected Saquon because they're almost in the same color scheme as jerseys or whatnot, but
the green,
the green,
green
but,
and white,
right. But just his vision matched up with Saquon's. Of course, it's not the same, but at this level, just him being able to do the things that he's doing, it's out of this world. Now, if he would have attempted to do that, I'm glad that Saquon done that when we were done, because I couldn't imagine that happening on the field. And I'm sure next year We'll probably see that a time or two.
Man, you know these kids, they try to mimic everything they see. So it probably is a good thing that that it happened after
Right.
our season was over,
Right.
man. That's
Right.
because man, I'm gonna tell you, man, Saquon Barkley, that's a good person to pattern yourself after. He's that guy, he's done some amazing things that I hadn't seen in a long time or ever.
Right.
You know, the last great move that I can remember seeing was Earl Campbell when he was running and he went to change direction and jumped in the air and kicked off of somebody's chest to change direction and go the other way. And that was Earl Campbell. That was back in the 70s,
Yeah.
you know. And but when I saw Saquon Barkley, when he was spinning and then jumped in the air backwards
Right.
and jumped over something, now that was just phenomenal. And you know, to pattern yourself after someone like that, man, and that's somebody that you look up to,
Mm-hmm.
man, that's amazing, man. That's what you want to shoot for. You want to shoot for the greatest.
Right.
And the top stars that are out there and everything, you know, you shoot for those things and hopefully you become, you know, better than them.
Yeah, this is true.
They are both champions. They have that commonality and that common element at this stage right now. So great inspiration. And obviously his performance on the field is sort of leaning in the direction on why he wrote that answer. Next question. So what superpower would you want to have on the field or the court? Super speed. Now, speed is the one thing that you can obviously train, but a lot of that is a natural gift that you either got or you don't got. I don't got it. So, I never had it. I could work at it as much as I can, but I had a ceiling and I knew my ceiling as soon as I found it. So it's interesting that, with speed comes the opportunity of expansion on all of these other skill sets, right? The ability to jump backwards, the ability to stop on a dime and then get at full speed in 2 strides. Coach Norman, where do you see speed obviously fitting into not only what this young man has in his arsenal at this point, but really sort of leveraging everything that he's mentioned so far with respect to somebody like Barkley?
Yeah, well, I mean, his speed, for a 9-year-old, he's pretty quick. He's pretty fast.
Yep.
And so I think just him building on that, he'll get to where he wants to be. The old saying is speed kills, and it's very true. Unfortunately, the older and older you get, everyone starts picking up that speed
catching up
and
with you.
catching up with you, if you're the fastest at that young age. So, man, so the super speed, man, that's something that everybody needs to have. Speed kills. This kid Jody, man, he's fast at 9 years old. He's fast. And the unfortunate thing is that as you get older, everybody starts catching up with you. It reminds me of a time, when we played, when we were younger in junior high and in the Pop Warner. I was one of the fastest ones out there. We got to our freshman year, and that's when Antoine and them started beating me, and I was like, man, what is going on? But it was a time where everybody gets faster. Kids get faster. Now, I was still fast now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you still got them skates. You still got them skates.
But they started beating me, and I was like, man, what's going on with me? But, we just had to keep working at it. People mature at different times.
Right.
And so, keep that speed up, man. You got to keep working at it, keep going, and don't slow down, don't get complacent.
Right.
Because it'll be a time where, it's someone that's gonna be faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agility is a major fundamental piece of speed for sure. And it tends to favor the youth. Coach A, what's your take? Not just speed in his answer, but super speed.
Super speed. When a kid have an answer like this, I immediately go to Flash. Flash moves so fast to the people that he's around, but in his world, everything is moving slow. And there's a saying that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I think this is a great choice of words when we're talking about Jody, that he's moving fast, but yet he had a lot of preparation, which caused him in his mind to move slow, but in everybody else that's around him, he's just moving that much faster.
Yeah.
Yes. So kudos to him.
Well, so much emphasis is put on speed. I mean, when we talk about the combine or anything like that, we always talk about 40 times. And, you know, guys literally get drafted specifically because they had one good 40-yard run. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be fast forever, but that's really what the team picks up on. That's usually the way that they try to promote them. Obviously, there's other factors in mind too, but, you know, speed is a critical component of the game. But, you know, as you alluded to, the ability to recognize the world that's going slower around you is a separate superpower, right? Like you could always run fast, but if you're running fast into the back of your lineman, you're not doing too much, right? So, you know, it's a testament to have that foundation, but it's also a testament to know that you need to work on other aspects as well. And I'll be curious what this young man's, you know, training regimen is to help forge that iron to improve not only his speed, but the agilities outside of that as well. Okay, moving into our next question here. And this is always one of my favorites in these questionnaires. Who is your biggest supporter when you play a game, and what do they do to help you? And his response, similar to our last athlete spotlight, mom and dad, they encourage me. They encourage and cheer for me. Again, it all starts at home, regardless on which way you look at it. You know, a strong family, strong support at home. This really is the motivating factor that keeps you on the field, keeps you focused on the field to improve yourself. Coach A, start us off, man. You had the family week. You had the good connections with family this week. What kind of answer does this mean to you, not only as a coach, but as a parent too?
Man, this answer puts a smile on my face because he gets it. The world today wants to break the family apart, and what's going on right here, he has support from his mom and his dad. That let us know that there's a bond there that can't be broken. And I just love that he chose this answer, and he want to respect his parents enough to put them out there. He could have said anybody, but yet he chose his mom and dad, those that are there that's guiding him, that's helping him as far as managing what he do, teaching him, guiding him. I love it. I love it. Just hold that close to your heart and run with that, because your parents is your biggest fan.
Coach Norman, you're also a coach, also a parent. What does this mean to you?
Man, it means a lot, man. You know, shoot, even, you know, personally growing up, you know, always, even though my parents were separated and divorced, you know, I always had my dad and my mom in my corner. You know, my mom, she couldn't be there as much as she wanted to be, but, you know, she was there when she could be. And so, you know, having your mom and dad, that's a huge, it's a huge asset to kids, I believe, you know, because it's a lot of kids out there that don't have their mom and dad, you know, and they have to look elsewhere and look towards other mentors and people, you know, like ourselves and whatnot. And but, you know, having that two-parent household there, you know, having the support of your mom and dad, and even when they are in the home, you know, it's some that are in the home, and they don't even support their children, you know. So that, I think that's a thing that we have to look at as well, is like parents supporting your children and not being overbearing on them, but supporting them in some of the things that they want to do, not just allowing them to do anything, but, you know, going out there and being at the games, being at the practices. You know, I think it means a lot to these kids, and it shows right there in that answer.
Well, we talk a lot about, you know, at least the beginning of the show, some of the topics or general topics that we want to cover is building character through sports. And, you know, a lot of the things that we touch on in this show, and will continue to touch on, is how you know, just some basics that you learn on the field can be applied off the field and in life. You know, life is the biggest game, and, you know, it's our job to figure out ways to win at that game. So on the field, you need to rely on your linemen to, make that block. You need to rely on your running back to get you those yards to set up a 3rd and 2 instead of a 3rd and 8.
Right.
In life, you got to rely on those that are in your nucleus to push you in the direction to help motivate you. So, I think all of this stems around, really the purpose of this show, and, really digging into, some of these answers and trying to understand it from a 9-year-old. I mean, this is super impressive, at least the way I look at it. I too am a parent, former coach, and, I look at answers like this, and it does put a smile on my face as well. Okay. And then the final question that we asked this young man: what's the most important lesson you've learned from playing sports? And this really does have a nice piggyback off of what we just discussed. Have some good sportsmanship and know that you're not going to win every game. Coach Norman, start us off.
Yeah.
What's your reaction?
No, that's pretty awesome. Have some sportsmanship and know that you're not going to win every game. And that's true. I believe that you should be having sportsmanship, whether you win or lose. You take the good wins with the bad losses.
Right.
You take the good with the bad. And the funny thing about it, if I was Jody's coach, one thing that I would relate to him is just like he said, I know what he's talking about when he says, know that you're not going to win every game. But one thing that I try to teach these young kids is you always win, even when you lose. We do have losses in games on the scoreboard where our score is a lot less than the other teams. I've had some blowout losses in life, and but I believe if you learn from those losses, if you learn from those things, learn what you did wrong, learn how you can get better,
right,
then you're winning.
Right.
In my eyes, you are. And so, yeah, a lot of people say, that's a loser's mentality and all of that. But I don't believe that, man. I truly believe, like, when you lose, because everybody's going to lose. Nobody just wins everything that they set out to do, because it's always going to be obstacles. Disruption always follows intention.
Oh, okay.
Disruption always follows intention. When you're out there and you're intending to do something, and you're intending to do something good, you're intending to win, you're going to have disruption in life. And if you expect that and take on that challenge of it coming to you, then you know how to deal with it, and you know how to get through that, and then get to the mountaintop, or to your end goal of what you're trying to do. So, man, that's good that he's already thinking about that. Knowing he's not going to win every game, but you'll win on the back end. You may not win the game on the scoreboard, but you'll win on the back end.
Yeah.
And in today's world, I mean, everybody focuses so much on winning, right? That's all you hear about, some of the interviews of these players. And, I remember as a kid, winning isn't everything was a common phrase. And you never really truly understood but you just really explained it in a way that should have been explained to me when I was playing. Like, it's not about the scoreboard. It's really about, what you can take away from it, whether you win or lose. There's people that lose by winning too. So Coach A, what's your take on an answer like this? Again, coming from a gentleman who's 9 years old, a champion himself, understanding the nucleus and the family that, is required. Again, sort of leveraging off of what Coach Norman alluded to about having sports sort of be the character building pillar that brings you into life. You're not always going to win in life. No. You got to learn how to lose, and you got to learn how to lose like a champion. What's your take on this?
Man, I just sometimes as parents and adults, we need to take a step back and in some instance have a childlike mentality and understanding that a question that you gave him, he gave a simple answer, but yet it's so powerful.
It's deep.
It really is. And I don't want to go past what he said. Sportsmanship and knowing that you're not going to win every game. That in itself, just letting you know that in his losses, he has to find something in there that he done wrong or that he could do to make the wins better the next week. Because that's what any and everything that we do. In all the negative, there's a positive. You just got to find it, right? So if you don't have losses, and you won't be able to learn from it. And that, I think that's one of the hardest things or the most disruptive things you can do to a child is always having them to succeed and win something. And then when that adversity hit them, they don't know how to react. It's winning. They don't know how to react. Yeah. So you got to know, like, when you're in a fight, hey, I get hit in the mouth, it's two things gonna happen. Either I'm gonna ball up my fist and fight back, or I'm gonna tuck my tail and run. So you got to know what's gonna happen when you don't win. Like, take it on the chin. I don't know if I can say pause, but
you can.
And figure out what you need to do to overcome that adversity.
Yeah.
Definitely. So great answers from Jody, great analysis from you guys as well. I mean, again, this is really one of my best or one of my favorite segments, I should say. And I think that, we have a pretty unique addition to this segment. Hopefully we can sort of add this week after week, but we're actually going to show a nice little highlight of Jody, in one of his games. So it's a little tough to see, but you'll get the point. So he is playing quarterback here.
See, look, in and out. Look at the speed. Like, they had angles on him.
And he ran out of all.
And he is walking away.
Yeah.
So, my takeaway on just watching this, first of all, no showboating at the end, just hands the ball to the official. Everything's good to go there. Sportsmanship, right?
Sportsmanship.
Yeah.
When he broke through the line, the first thing I recognized, and again, watching tons of film myself, analyzing, trying to figure out what the strengths and weaknesses of any play are, his vision. Coach A, everything you pointed out, he was running between the tackles, saw the angles that the defenders were coming down, bounced it, and then kicked that super speed into hyperdrive. So I'm going to actually replay that component of it. Just if you guys have any comments to add to that as well, I'll do it from the snap here. So this is what I mean. He's already up through the middle. Boom, vision, speed. Kicks it into that next gear.
And that's a 55-yard run right there? Yeah.
Easily.
Well, just enough poise that he had running that zone read because the ends were unblocked for him to carry out that fake. That's that super speed you're talking about. It looked like he's moving slow to us, but yet he's moving slow to him, but he's moving fast.
Do you guys think that was a design run, or did he have the option to read on that? Was he able to hand that ball off to the running back?
To me, it looked like it was an option read.
Right.
So, that's what you do is you read that defensive end, and if that defensive end comes up the field, and that's part of being a smart player.
Yeah.
I was just going to allude to that.
Yeah, having a high IQ, reading the defense, knowing if the defense does this, then I'm going to do this.
Right.
And doing it quickly and on time and within the offense. So, I think he saw that defensive end get up the field, pull it, and you go.
Yep.
Beautiful.
And when you go, you got to get out of there.
Got to get out of there. Right?
And he did. He left everybody. I don't think he got touched. So, I mean, he left everybody in his trail for sure. Okay, so that covers our athlete spotlight of the week. We're actually going to jump into our second trivia question here. And
here we go.
This one this one is for Coach A. All right, Coach.
I can't use my phone.
No Googling. You can't
no Googling.
GPT.
Come on, man. If you don't get this one, I'm gonna if you say figure skating again, I'm leaving. I'm just mic dropping this out.
Figure skating.
Right.
All right. What Division I football stadium is commonly referred to as the Jones?
Man, come on now.
I can say Texas Tech, Red Raiders, huh?
I don't know, can you?
It is Texas Tech, and
boy,
Power 5 had a pretty decent announcement that they made today about this venue. Coach Norman, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Man, it's an awesome deal that we just landed. So for Power 5 Sports League this year in 2025 in the fall, our championship games will be held at Jones AT&T Stadium on Cody Campbell Field.
Cody Campbell.
Yes, sir.
In Lubbock, Texas?
In Lubbock, Texas. So the championships will be November 1st and 2nd. We'll have our champions going down there. You know, we've gotten a few people, you know, talking about, you know, so we got to drive 2 hours to go out. And my response to that is, nah. But if you win, you get to.
Right.
So I think it's a huge deal, you know, for these kids, man.
It is.
This will be the first time ever that I know of, but the first time ever that a Division I college football stadium has hosted a youth football event, or youth football championship. I think it was like Air Academy or somebody in California. They played at Oregon, but this is the first time ever that a school of that magnitude is hosting a championship event. So I think it's pretty awesome, man. Shout out to Texas Tech University, the athletic director Kirby Holcott.
Thank you, Kirby.
You know, it's been an awesome experience just to, you know, talking with those guys and working through this and making it happen, man. You know, and so I think it'll be great for these kids. I think it'll be something that they want to shoot for and make them play just a little bit harder during the season. You know, to get out there and get to play on the big stage.
Right.
Well, you both have bled and sweat on that same field, and now you're building this organization, which is so empowering to the community and sort of bringing them a little taste, a little glimpse of what their future could potentially look like at the Division I level. This, again, as a parent, as you know, a coach, as somebody who's participating in the league, this is exactly the type of environment I want my kids to be exposed to and associated with. So congratulations to you both. Congratulations to the Power 5 Sports League. Congratulations to Texas Tech. Obviously, this is not an easy decision, but they understand the value of what you guys are providing the community, and I'm glad to see that they're catering to it. So hopefully this becomes a trend, not just in Division I, but all around the country. We have some great schools, great stadiums, great college campuses that can easily host this type of opportunity for young athletes. And again, it's a motivating factor. We'll see how all that plays out and who's going to be the ones that compete there. You know, Jody mentioned competition is the favorite part. Well, hopefully this sparks a little bit more competition, so he's got to earn that spot if he wants to repeat.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, that'll be awesome, man.
All right, so we're going to move us into our third segment here, and we're gonna jump into our coach's tip of the week. Last week we spoke a little bit about the fundamentals behind running. Are we expanding on that? Are we going to have a new tip? Coach Norman, you want to start us off with this one?
Man, we're gonna let Coach A do the tip of the week this week. We're gonna alternate a little bit, and
well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. You know, because I know you got some great tips. You know,
I do. I like to talk more on the mental side, mental toughness. Whenever for this week in your drills, in your game, before your game, I need you to visualize what's happening before the game. See yourself making those plays. It's track season. See yourself coming out of the blocks. Yeah. The mind is a powerful tool. You have to visualize yourself doing things before you happen. Yes, so therefore you can have great anticipation. Yeah. And you will be one of those athletes that people talk about when saying he was running the play before they even done it because he visualized that, right? And so practice that. And you guys can use my phrase that I use time and time again. Private preparation calls for public celebration. So your practice, what you do behind the scenes is going to cause for you to have public celebration.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's almost a tongue twister.
There's a theory. There's a physics theory that you actually have the opportunity to create your own reality. That's how powerful the mind is. And if you think about it, when you wake up in the morning, you're laying in bed, you're starting to wake up, you automatically start to plan your day. I have to get up, I have to brush my teeth, I need to make breakfast, and then all of a sudden those components that you manifested in your mind become a reality. And if you have the ability to do that faster and faster as it becomes closer and closer to that reality, that's when you have, that decision making, that cut speed, that awareness to know where that defender is going to come and tackle you. I love that tip. Coach Norman, anything you want to add to that?
Man, I'll just add this, man, because it brought up when Coach A was talking about that, that visualization and that mental preparation. Um, going through all of those things is one saying that I tell our kids all the time, because a lot of people say, even just speaking specifically about the game of football, but I apply this to all sports and all things that these kids do. Um, but one thing that they say in football is like 60% mental and 40% physical. Well, I disagree with that. I have a saying where Coach Norman says the game is 100% mental and then 100% physical, because the 100% of the mental, you have to have the mental capacity.
Yeah, you do.
To play any sport when you get out there and compete with amongst one another. You can't just be there at 60% or 40% or whatever. You got to be there 100%. Have that 100% mental capacity, and then the athleticism and all of those things to take care of itself.
Right.
You can only, God only gives us so many gifts. He gives us so many physical gifts. But one thing that no one can take away from you is your mind and how you thinking out there on the field. And so it's 100% mental to me, man. And if kids can remember that, be mentally prepared when they're getting out there on the field or court or wherever it is, and that's the thing that is going to take them in life as well. You want to be mentally prepared for whatever it is that you're doing. Academics, when you're in school, you want to be mentally prepared. It's just like studying. You study your craft.
Right.
When you're out there working out on the field and working out for football or working out for baseball or whatever, or lacrosse, whatever it is, you want to do the same thing, academically. You want to study, you want to get those grades to where when you go in to take the test, you be ready for the test.
Right.
Well, as you were explaining that, I brought the proverb back up because maybe we sort of been analyzing this proverb a little bit one-sided. Maybe that iron is sharpening our minds, and that mind control and the ability to practice that mental strength is more valuable than doing those drills at the end of that practice. It's the mindset and the fortitude to keep that step moving forward, right? I mean, and I love that tip of the week as it relates to the proverb. I think it hits the nail on the head, and I think it's a different level of focus rather than just going out and running drills around cones. So, we'll see if any of these athletes this season start picking up on some of these tips, and I hope so, because they are extremely valuable not only on the field, but as we start moving our way off the field and getting older into this game of life.
Absolutely.
Okay, so with that being said, we're going to move into our wrap up for the week, and that's going to be our 2-minute warning. So we're going to start the clock on our 2-minute warning. Coach A, final thoughts? Anything that you feel is an important takeaway of the week?
Just go into this week understanding that everything you do is for a purpose. Every drill will turn into a play on the field. So do it with a purpose and don't take anything for granted because it's not promised.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I think what I would say is, just going to the proverb of iron sharpens iron. Even when you're out there, with your teammates or whatnot, help them as well. You take these tips and things that we're putting out there, and that all these other mentors are putting out there for you. Take these tips and help others with those things. help yourself and help others. But I believe that, by helping others, you'll get a lot further than you would by just helping yourself. No running back can run for all of those yards that Saquon Barkley ran for without the help of his linemen.
Right.
No quarterback can stand back there and throw the ball for all the yards they throw for without the help of their linemen. Mm-hmm. That's a team sport. And so, and then if you want to put it into the place of a single sport where you're out there, fighting against yourself, because that's who you're competing against in these single sports. So when you're out there golfing, or you're out there playing tennis, or playing pickleball, whatever it may be, have that mental toughness, have that mental capacity to go out there and compete and push through adversity, push through the things that are hard. When it gets hard and you're tired, push through those things and have that mental toughness, man, and you'll go a long way with that. So that's my conclusion from today's segment.
Beautiful, beautifully said by both of you. So I didn't want to interrupt with the buzzer, but now I have to play. All right. So thank you guys for watching. As always, we appreciate your feedback, your support. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, share it with your friends. Remember, we always encourage some trivia that you would like to drop in to stump us as well. So, Coach threw you a soft this time. You hit it out of the Jones Stadium Park. Quick registrations for 9v9 spring football is now closed, but there's always going to be the off season. We have baseball that's open now. We have a few different training programs and elite plans that Power 5 is coming in, and there seems to be breaking news happening every week. I mean, this week was the huge announcement that the Power 5 Sports League football championships will be taking place at the Jones. Monster news. There's obviously other news that's coming as well. So make sure that you keep your ear close to the ground with respect to the Power 5 Sports League and the website and the social media accounts. Follow, share, do all that fun stuff. Gentlemen, any final thoughts here before we close up for the week?
Just sharpen.
Keep sharpening, huh? Hey, this is my deal. Hey, keep on pushing. No matter what.
KOP.
Keep on pushing.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you guys next episode. Take care.
Right.